My name is Dave Rosendahl, and I am president of Mindfire, and I'm going to be your moderator today. Over the next hour or so, here's what we're doing. We're going to be covering the postage promotions that can save somewhere between 5 to 10% on postage. And this applies whether you're running a small print shop with a few thousand pieces a month or managing multi-million piece campaigns for Fortune 100 brands. This is applicable across the board. As I mentioned a moment ago, there's over 500 of you registered today, and I know who's in the room. We've got some PSPs that are trying to figure out, how do we pitch this to clients without getting buried in all the BCG work, all the compliance paperwork. Or maybe you're wondering, how do I do this on behalf of my clients? Is that going to be a nightmare in terms of all the logistics that are required? We also have brand side folks. So these are the brands here that are using direct mail to engage their market. And I know that for many of you, justifying mail budgets that keep shrinking and that are getting pressed on all sides is super important to you. We've also got paper merchants here. You're always looking for ways to arm your customers with new intel. And I saw a couple of nonprofits here as well, looking at how do we do this to continue to drive savings for our nonprofit. So because of the breadth of what's here in the room today, what we're going to do is we're going to walk through all 5 promotions, including the new 10% discount that honestly most people don't know even exists. And to help us do that, I've got Chris, Glenn, AJ, and Carl. And we're not just going to read you USPS documentation. If you've been in these events before, you know that we keep them energetic, engaging. And my job here is to pull out of these panel here what you need to know around how to stay eligible, where the math breaks down, where the serious money gets left on the table, what it takes to actually do this. And so now I'm going to introduce to you that expert panel. First up, we have Carl Boatner. You can see him here on the screen. He's program manager of products and services at USPS. He's been there for about 6 years. He actually started as an intern and then rotated through a variety of different teams as part of the Management Foundations program. Carl directly supports the mailing promotion. So exactly what we're talking about today, that's the team that Carl is on. He also serves as the program manager for Direct Effect. That's USPS's academic outreach program that's engaging the next generation of marketers on the value of direct mail. And that's super important in our industry, right, folks? We got to continue to engage the new generation, the next generation of print lovers. Carl, thanks for joining us today. And I got a quick question for you, man. I'm just curious, what was the first thing you did at USPS as an intern?
Sure. I had an opportunity to work on a program called Postal Proud. And so, there's a lot of people out there that don't know all of the things that the Postal Service does. And, that includes some of the postal employees themselves.
Yep.
And so this was an internal campaign looking to really, highlight some of the, day-to-day heroes of the Postal Service and, what they do and how they make all of this, awesome industry work. So it was a
That's
really exciting opportunity.
That's cool. And yeah, I didn't mention that, but there are a lot of USPS people here in the audience as well. I see CJ. CJ, I haven't seen you in a while. Please continue to drop your names there in the chat, introduce yourself and the name of your company. And I'm going to continue introducing you to the panel. Next up is my friend Chris Lean, EVP of Postal Affairs for BCC Software. And think of him as kind of representing the mailing software perspective today, because in his role, he's helping MSPs, PSPs cut through the complexity. It's tough navigating postal regulations, all the compliance pitfalls, maximizing every available discount, and doing that with the data that drives direct mail in an effective way. That's what BCC does. So when you need to know how to register on behalf of clients or what's going to trip you up, Chris is the guy with all the answers. Welcome back, Chris. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Dave. Always excited to talk about these USPS promotions because every year they get incrementally better, more innovative, and have a bigger opportunity for all of our listeners. Can't wait to talk about it.
Awesome. And a new friend here, Glenn Swires, Director of Marketing Integration at the Imagine Group. He's representing the PSPs in the room. So if you're a PSP, drop the word PSP there in the chat. Where are our PSPs at? Glenn is representing your point of view in the conversation today, and he works with national brands and brings the practitioner's perspective that you need. He's the guy actually applying these promotions for clients. He's a USPS certified mail design professional, 2018 PCC Industry Member of the Year, and MTAC leadership team member and incoming vice chair at NTAC. Glenn, thanks for being here today.
Oh, thanks so much. Just excited about it. I can match Chris's enthusiasm. I am just so excited to demystify promotions today.
Yeah, there's a lot of confusion, a lot of questions. And so, Glenn, I know your perspective is going to be very helpful. Where are my PSPs at? Drop PSP there in the chat. I want to know where the PSPs are at. And up last, but certainly not least, AJ. She's sales manager with Silvamo, and AJ are the reason that you're all here. AJ, I don't know if you remember, but it was around 2 years ago, I think, that you saw that there was a need for, straight shooting resources for the promotions, not technical geeky jargon. I know you had to go through a little bit of a learning phase there yourself. There's just a lot of insider terms. And so what you wanted to do is create practical strategies to help you and your organization and your clients and the market stretch, budgets that are continually getting compressed and actually qualify for these discounts. So you've initiated this series, and we're very grateful to you and Silvamo for that. How are you today?
Hey, good morning. Doing good. Happy to be here. I feel like I'm on a panel of celebrities going through those introductions. So, on behalf of Silvamo, guys, thank you so much for being here and bringing your time and your expertise to help educate all of our customers to help save some money.
Awesome. Thank you, AJ. Before we dive in, I'm just going to let you know a little bit of housekeeping, and then we're going to get right into it, folks. As I said, we have over 500 of you registered for today. There are going to be a lot of questions. And so what we're going to do, look at the screen real quick. Look at the screen. If you want to chat with your peers, use the little chat icon that you see there. It's under the yellow bubble, okay? But if you've got a specific question, a how-to question, a very specific question, and want to ask our experts, use the Q&A icon there. The opportunity that we have with the Q&A icon is that I believe, and Carissa, correct me if I'm wrong here, producer Carissa, but folks, you can upvote and downvote your questions there. So if you have a question, go see if it's there. If you see your question already asked by someone else, upvote it, and it's going to bubble to the top. That's going to help us kind of sift through all of the questions and make sure we get the top ones answered. We've got the experts that you see here on the screen able to answer questions. I've got folks from my staff. We've got Silvamo. We've got some USPS folks behind the scenes. So be selfish, folks. This is for you. Ask your questions. There are no dumb questions. We want to make sure that you get everything answered that's on your mind. All right. Who's ready to get started? I want you to give me a yes in the chat if you're ready. Give me a yes in the chat if you're ready to go. I see Jeffrey asking if there are other designers here. Kate, of course, is ready to go. Robin's ready to go. Robin, are you the Robin that I know? It's going back too quickly now. Matthew says yes. Tracy says yes. All right, get those yeses going, guys. I'm not going to move forward unless everyone says yes. Come on.
All right, let's
thank
go.
you, Jamie. Yeah, let's go. All right, Glenn, I'm going to go to you first. Let's start with kind of getting the insider view on how direct mail is performing. I was on a podcast the other day, and they were asking me, hey, is direct mail dead? And of course, you know my answer to that. You and I were together at Printing United a few weeks back, and you shared some stats with the audience there that I think is useful for anyone needing to articulate the value of mail. And so tell us, what are the latest data showing here?
So, getting into some of the numbers, reality is this: there is no doubt that the messaging, especially for the the digital marketers, is that, mail is old, it's, irrelevant, etc. But the numbers don't lie. The reality is the latest survey that just came out, the Diary study that just came out a couple of months ago by the United States Post Office showed that, yes, there was a 39% decrease in that single piece first class mail over the last decade, but still 60% of what's in the mailbox is marketing mail, which you're saying, all right, Glenn, how does that matter to me as a marketer? Well, yesterday when we were, Carl and the team, we were at NC State, and I had everybody in the room yell their name out. And I said, all right, who heard the message, right? And of course it was chaos. And then we just had two people say it, and you could know, all right, if there isn't all of that extra clutter, right,
Yep.
then maybe I can get my message through. So I'm saying all that really fast to kind of come to the end saying, all right, there's a positive with some of the reduction of that other type of mail, because your messaging right now that's getting into the mailbox is being read and heard. 60% of mail is being seen as opened up, period, no questions asked. Some age groups it's up as 95%. And that includes unsolicited mail where you're sending something out that nobody's ever seen before. And long story short, they're opening up and the response rates are there. You can see the stats on the screen here. When you mix mail with marketing, with digital marketing, it even gets better.
I recall in one of the sessions that you and I were in, one of the sessions that you presented, you were showing how mail moves through a home, like
Yeah.
physically moves, which I think is fascinating for any practitioner here, whether you're on the brand side or the PSP side, and you're thinking about how that message is going to move, from the mailbox into the home. So talk to us about that, Glenn.
No, that's a great call out. Real quick story. So we were working with a regional grocery store, and they were competing for dollars against the digital team. And when we showed them this heat map and says, "Oh my gosh, more than 50% of direct mail is read in the kitchen," it hit home, and they say, "Now I have science behind knowing why my mail is so effective." Food's already on the on their brains, right? We're also seeing that in manufacturers where they're noticing it's like, all right, based on where mail is actually opened, people that are selling refrigerators have a better ROI on their direct mail because of where the mail is written. So I think it's kind of funny, and I think we had this side conversation where we were at Florida A&M, and one of the students said, "Excuse me, Mr. Swyers, I don't see digital on your screen because my guess is email's read in a different room."
Email, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Yes. Yeah. We can connect the dots there, folks.
You connect the dots there, but it is funny though how I think. Let me just conclude with this real fast. There's science behind it.
Yeah.
You know, be strategic about your direct mail. When there's science behind it, you can beat back some of the disinformation that's out there about our product.
If you need data, folks, to support direct mail, drop that in the chat. I'd love to know specifically what kind of data are you looking for. Take a moment to drop that in. If you needed to convince your leadership team, your management team, if you needed to convince your clients, please take a moment to drop the kind of data that you would like, and we'll see what we can do to help you there. Chris, I'm going to come to you next. I know that you and I have been in the trenches this last year with printers, and we kind of hear the same thing as it relates to these promotions, that they sound great, but that they're complicated and folks are not sure that they're worth the hassle. So let's start there. Why should we, PSPs, brands, why should we even bother with the promotions?
Yeah, that's a great point, Dave. And we heard some consistent things, right? It was too complicated. Hey, I don't know how to sell this to my customers. I don't know how to make money on it from an MSP aspect because the postage discounts are at the time of the mailing in a lot of cases, and that's for the mail owner, right? So the service provider is like, why am I doing all this work and I'm not getting anything out of it? So my answer to that is really kind of twofold. First of all, yes, there's real dollars here. I mean, significant postage savings of 5 to 10, some up to 12.5%. We'll talk more about that on some of the add-ons with it. So there's a tangible, benefit in decreasing the postage, but it's not about the postage. It's about the purpose of the piece. So what we're trying to encourage mail service providers is, hey, pause for a moment. And I want you to really think, because back to what Glenn was saying, most of the mail that's going through the system is marketing mail, and it's getting looked at, and it's getting touched, and it touches you back, and it creates all these dynamic opportunities to do things. You, as a mail service provider, and now I'm speaking to you, you are a stakeholder in having that mail moment experience for the end recipient. You have an opportunity to help that customer. By adding these promotions, you're adding value to the piece. So I'd love to see the mail service providers having a conversation with their customer and saying, look, I can get you, a 3, 4, 5% response rate on a basic direct mail campaign. But if you want to get into 5, 6, 7, some of the 8 and 11% that Glenn talked about, that's how you do it with these promotions. And that's how you can now start incrementally pricing your mail services for those add-ons of these promotions and stuff. That's how you start making money on that. We'll talk a little bit more in the presentation on some tools that are coming out that'll help you with that.
Oh, cool.
That's the pivot point that I'm seeing. Let's have a conversation about the purpose of the piece and not get too wrapped up around the postage.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Carl, I'm going to come to you next with that intro. Let's get into each of these promotions. And on the screen, Carissa is going to display here, folks, the 2026 promotion calendar. And Carl, the first thing I want you to do is kind of walk us through what we're looking at here and tell us how to read this calendar and what we need to know.
Sure. Yeah, so as we were talking about a moment ago, we do have 5 promotions. So these vary in different scope and we know what's eligible for them. So there's a lot of different opportunity out there as you're kind of planning your marketing calendar for next year. So, if you don't think that something is a fit, there's probably something else that you can definitely take advantage of. Promotions are pretty much available for all of the year in 2026. So they're strategically kind of placed. And so we have some promotions for marketing mail, some promotions for first class mail, and then some for both. But kind of looking at this calendar here, you'll see 2 kind of bluish bars on each promotion. That top light blue bar is a registration period. So that's when you can actually, get set up for the promotion. And then you have the promotion period. So one thing I wanted to clarify there, that promotion period, that's the time frame when you can actually claim that promotion and earn your discount. So you have a little bit of lead time in advance, including, right now for promotions such as integrated technology and tactile sensory, which are already open for registration. I won't go into the exact dates right now because we'll talk through them in more detail later. But as you can see, we have some pretty heavy hitter promotions up front with integrated tech and TSI. Integrated tech is the one promotion that offers a custom promotion period. So you have 6 months consecutively. That's definitely something to keep in mind. It's really flexible, can help you in your strategy. And so you have something available for both marketing mail and first class year round. And so, certainly encourage you to, after this presentation, research which promotions are best for you. And then at the bottom, really quickly, I'll also point out our add-ons. So add-ons are a great way to, get something in addition to those promotions that we offer up front. So we'll cover those in more detail as well. Those are available in conjunction with any of those promotions you see offered. So all of those promotions, you can utilize those add-ons on top. We get a lot of questions about, stacking promotions. So those add-ons allow you to utilize multiple innovations and multiple techniques on top of that base promotion.
Got it. So Carl, there's a variety of different people here. And folks, I know some of you are like, hey, I just need a refresher on the promotion. Some of you are like, never even heard of the promotions. Some of you are doing them every day for your clients or for your brand. So I want to take a moment, just take a beat here. There's no dumb question. Does this make sense? There's a couple of key things here: the registration period, the promotion period, there's the pick 6. If you have any questions about that, whether you're on LinkedIn right now, seeing us on LinkedIn, or here in Zoom, please take a moment to drop your question and we will make sure to get that answered. Thank you for that overview, Carl. And AJ, I'm going to come to you next. I know that you and Silvamo, you're working on a promotional pack to share, actual physical creatives with your clients and with the market that's here today. Tell us more about what you're doing here.
Yeah, so if you provided your mailing address in the registration process, what we will be doing is mailing this kit in the next couple of weeks. And each piece will walk you through the promotion, but it will also give you some ideas, maybe some tweaks to make on a campaign in order to take advantage of the promotions. Chris reinforced it's the purpose of the piece, right? So these tweaks not only will increase the engagement, but will help you get that promotion. I saw Jeffrey Bauer in the chat here said, "Hey, send me some direct mail ideas." Jeff, you can use this for ideas. We encourage you to use this all throughout next year. Show this to your customers to give them ideas. If you're an agency, use it to show your brand owners some tweaks that they can make to really improve the purpose of the piece.
And how much does this cost,
we'll kind of walk
AJ?
through this
Remind me.
throughout. What's that?
How much does it cost?
It's free. We'll send it to you just for attending the webinar today.
So folks, if you signed up, or when you signed up for today, you had an opportunity to enter your mailing address. If you missed that opportunity and would like to be added to this list, Carissa is going to roll a poll right now. I'm going to leave it up for a few seconds. And what we want to know, if you're interested in getting this, it's not a traditional poll in the sense that we're asking you, a bunch of different questions, but we want to ask you to fill in your information here. And of course, we're going to keep it private, confidential, but Silvamo will get these packages out to you. When does the first one hit, AJ?
I think it's going to hit just right after the holidays.
Okay.
And then throughout next year, we will be sending you postcards to remind you of those upcoming registration dates.
Awesome. I see some questions here already. Jeff says, I'd like to get 2 of these packages. So Jeff, two at your address or for two different addresses? Let us know there in the chat. Brett is asking, can you send it to Canada, AJ? What do we think about that?
We have a sales rep in Canada, Scott Jones, so I'll work with him to see what we can do, Brett.
All right. So, folks, if you want to get on this, please take a moment to look at the poll. Carissa's going to leave it up for a few more seconds here. If you want to get this information, this promotional material, John is saying, AJ, great promotional material. Jeff is filling out the form now. You know what, Carissa, people might need a little bit of time here to fill in the form. So let's leave it open for a moment. Zachary, you're saying, can you resend the form? Zachary, if you look at your screen, there should be a poll on your screen. If not, just let us know in the chat and we'll make sure to follow up with you to get on the list here. Robin is saying each piece in the kit tells you about the promotion and how to take advantage of them. Wonderful. All right, Carissa, looks like we've got some people that have filled this out. I think what we'll do is if we close this poll and some of you are still wanting to be on it, just let us know there in the chat and we'll make sure that we get this to you. All right, Carissa, let's close this up in about 5 seconds. 4, hurry up and type, folks. 3, 2, 1. Thank you, Carissa. Let's pull that down. And again, if you missed that, happy to get that out to you. Just let us know there in the chat. All right, so we're going to move now to Carl here. Carl, something that gets me excited about direct mail in general is, the idea of integrating digital technology with, analog marketing. And I think that's kind of one of the reasons why you've created this integrated technology category here. So can you walk us through what qualifies for integrated technology in 2026 and what makes this 5% discount here so valuable for mailers that are looking to bridge the physical and digital experience?
Absolutely, and you nailed it, right? It's really about bridging that physical and digital element. Those omni-channel campaigns can really help you find success, being consistent across your channels. But we live in an age with a lot of technology, and technology works awesome with direct mail. And so one way we really want to embrace that is with this integrated technology promotion. It's all about, implementing a variety of different techniques. So we have a little bit of a list here. And so I'll just run through it really quickly. There's things that people don't know you can do with direct mail. You can implement augmented reality, mixed reality, virtual reality, integration with voice assistant, right? That we probably all in this call have some way to talk to a device, whether it's on our phone or whether it's, Alexa or something of that nature on a countertop. Video and print. You can have a mailer which you open up and then it plays a video right there. Those are really exciting. NFC, that's something that's been around for a long time, probably underutilized, and a great way to again embed some technology in that piece. And then some of the popular ones you see at this tail end here. So I'll talk about those a little bit more in depth. So you have mobile shopping, right? We live in an age where convenience is super important. And so, if you launch some sort of mobile shopping experience with a QR code, and a lot of these technologies are launched with a QR code or some sort of scannable technique. With that mobile shopping one, we open the door for you go to a website, you can make a purchase. It's really about getting to that site, facilitating that process. And then a topic that we're all probably really familiar with right now, we're hearing a lot about artificial intelligence or AI. And so, in 2026, we actually have, we offered AI for the first time in 2025. In 2026, it's a new offering. We're expanding that offering of AI. So you can utilize artificial intelligence to write your copy. And, that's one way you can kind of get some support. It's about kind of working with AI, not replacing anything with AI. It's how do you use it to supplement your techniques? You can use it to generate imagery. You can use it to even help you design or formats. That's new for 2026. And then you can also utilize it to, launch a chatbot, right? A lot of customer support services utilize chatbots. So having a direct connection there with your mail piece is a really great way to utilize AI with your mail. As I mentioned earlier, this is a custom promotion period, so 6 months consecutively. So you have a lot of flexibility with this. Registration is currently open, and that discount is going up to 5% for 2026. So this is one of our biggest promotions. We're really excited about it, and we're really excited to see all the different applications of it in 2026.
So, folks, if you have a question on this one, go to the Q&A, drop your question in there. I can see that some of you are asking questions and they're getting answers from the experts here. Make sure to ask your questions there. And as you're doing that, Glenn, what do you see as a practitioner, as a hands-on, person that's working with these daily, where do you think the easiest entry point to qualify for this promotion is?
Couple of things. No doubt this one is giving us the most amount of excitement in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
The AI is definitely, in my opinion, the AI component is the most underutilized in 2025 because the barrier is actually kind of low. But what we're seeing in 2026, there are some major enterprises, Fortune 100 companies, that in 2025 took this one off the table because they felt the security issues were too big of a risk, have now engaged us and says, we have now AI guardrails in our organization, so we're really excited about it. Nonprofits are using the mobile shopping more and more because they're realizing that, you know what, there really isn't a big difference between buying a product and doing a gift. There's some extra rules involved as far as, you know, getting that thank you letter, et cetera. So each one of these promotions, there's some little T's and C's that are in there.
Yep.
But no doubt AI and mobile shopping are the keys right now.
Yeah, that's super helpful. So Glenn, I'm going to just kind of piggyback on what you just said here. This is another example of what we're talking about, brought to you by Mindfire, Sylvamo, BCC, and all the organizations that are here, and including some folks that are here in the audience today that are already providing these services to clients. But Carl, you talked about AI, and this is a specific example of how you can leverage this promotion with conversational AI. And the easiest way for me to describe this to you, by the way, if you're interested, you can just let us know in the chat. We'll follow up with you afterwards. But this direct mail piece that I have here in my hand and that you can see here on the screen, this idea, which I'm about to show you, works in virtually any vertical. And I challenge you to think of a vertical where it doesn't work, okay? That's my challenge to you. But here's the idea. You can see here on the screen, we've got the intelligent mail barcode. We've got the personalized QR code there. We've got the Pearl in the lower right-hand corner. We've got the trackable phone number. These are all of the things that you can now track, specifically using intelligent paper. We're going to talk about that here in just a moment. But these are all things that can be tracked in an omni-channel campaign. But here's the difference now. When you think about pivoting from the price of postage and the price of the piece to the purpose of the piece, what Chris talked about a moment ago, what's important to remember is that the recipient of this piece needs to take some action on it, right? And so what we've enabled here is when the person gets that piece, interested in this property here, this location, they can pull out their phone, scan that QR code, and actually speak to that piece of paper, speak to that direct mail piece. Here's what I mean by that. Take a listen. I scanned it.
Hello. Is this John?
It is.
Oh, yay. Hi, John. How goes it?
It goes well.
Glad to hear it. So I noticed you were interested in the property at 530 Carysbrook Cove. What caught your eye about this place?
I'm interested in what the neighborhood looks like.
Gotcha. The property's in a really peaceful spot in River Oaks, right at the end of a quiet cove. It's super serene and hardly any traffic goes by. The neighborhood's pretty lovely and has that classic established charm. Does that kind of setting fit what you're looking for?
I think so. What about, school district?
Folks, I think you're getting the idea here, right? If you're a printer, now you can provide your customer with a way to capture the response to their mail in a totally new and unique way. If you're a brand, now you have a way to engage with your customers and your prospects that stays on brand, stays inside of those guardrails that Glenn mentioned, and converses with the recipient of that piece in a way that's going to move them from point A to point B, whatever the next step is in that process. What do you think of that? Drop some response there in the chat. Are you getting this? Give me a yes in the chat if you're understanding how this comes together. AJ, I know you also have an example here on the screen that you want to talk about. Go ahead with this one.
Yeah, I mean, I love how this technology really brings mail to life. It's amazing. Not all of the QR codes you put on your mail have to be that advanced, although I encourage you to do it. But this is one of the pieces in our kit that you will receive. Again, telling you about the promotion. And this has a QR code that actually includes some augmented reality. It's going to bring that boxer to life. So again, just another way to help educate you and your customers on how to take advantage of this specific promotion.
Yeah, I see Ian saying, wow, cool. Alexis saying, fantastic. Jeffrey saying, love it. Yeah, let us know your questions about that technology here in the chat. We'll make sure to get that answered. And we're going to talk more about it here in just a moment as we get to intelligent paper, coming up here shortly. Now, Carl, Chris Lean is always talking about, mail is the marketing medium that pushes back, that touches you back. And so I'd love for you to just talk a little bit about TSI, tactile, sensory, interactive. I saw a lot of questions in the registration around how people can use this, what qualifies for the promotion. So why don't you share a little bit about this and how you at USPS are looking at TSI?
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is another one of our largest promotions. This one has a lot of really exciting techniques and treatments involved. So this promotion is all about engaging the senses. Whether it's touch, sound or scent. There's so many different ways to engage with this. A lot of people really embrace texture. I think that's probably one of our leading techniques that you see with this, whether that's embossing. We see a lot of envelopes that are embossed now. We have been getting more pieces with scent, so that's always exciting, right? Scent is a great way to market a product. It can evoke, emotion and feelings of nostalgia, and kind of break things down into 3 categories in terms of eligibility. Specialty inks. There's some really cool inks out there that maybe they interact with light. Some of them are metallic even, so maybe they look like gold or silver. Those are really fun. Sensory treatments, that's things like touch, texture that I mentioned, the scent, and then you have interactivity as well. So, the key thing with tactile is that a customer is going to spend more time with this piece if you have this kind of treatment applied to it, right? Because it's going to stand out in the mailbox. It's going to look different. It's going to feel different. They're going to kind of second guess, before they move on from that piece. So interactivity, those elements are something that really, say you open up a mail piece and there's a pop-up in it. Trailing edge die cut, that's something that, really you see a lot with kind of making that 3D element of the piece. So a great number of ways to, become eligible for this promotion. This has a slight shift from 2025 in that we have moved the calendar. So we have moved the promotion period. So the promotion period for TSI, so when you can actually earn and claim that discount, will start on January 1st and run until June 30th. It will be a 5% discount. And this promotion is open to both first class and marketing mail.
I think that's a good point, Carl, that I forgot to mention is that one of the major changes from 25 to 26 is the standardization around 5%, right?
Yeah. So across the board, besides the catalog promotion, we're looking at a 5% discount for the promotions. And then we also have those add-ons that we briefly mentioned. We'll talk a little bit more. That are an additional 1% each. And then informed delivery has a caveat there where an eDoc submitter can earn a little bit more. And we'll get into that. But yeah, so 5%, we're going to really see, what techniques and treatments are popular across the board, because we want to, we want information on, what's helpful to you, because this is a full circle, everybody wins type of situation with these promotions.
100%. Carrie, I see saying, I love the January start date. Carrie, that's good. We aim to please. And Carrie is saying, please keep this. So Carl, thank you for that. Appreciate that. Chris, I know that you evangelize this idea of mail being multi-sensory.
Yeah.
What are you seeing as you talk to PSPs and the market out there? What are you seeing around TSI?
I'm seeing a lot of innovation with that. But here's the other thing, Dave, is so many pieces already would qualify for this, right? Because, excuse me, these printers, you're doing spot gloss treatment. You're doing things with the mail pieces, right? Very easy to add this in. And I'm seeing the pieces all the time. What gets me very excited about TSI, though, the Tactile Sensory Interactive, is not just how easy it is to participate in this and the creativity with it, but that it really works and it underscores the differentiation between a physical piece and a digital. And always remember, physical and digital are always better together. Yep. But a physical piece has such a huge advantage. When I'm reading my emails on my phone, it feels like I'm playing Candy Crush or Fruit Ninja. There's no difference to it. But when I touch that physical piece and it touches me back, right, all my senses interact. And there's something else that's very important from a psychology aspect. It's called the endowment effect, right? If I'm going to touch a piece, I own that, right? Now it's something that's personal to me. I immediately have value in this. I don't get the same value of just a pure digital. But when you combine those together, paper and pixels, and you bring those together, That's explosive. That brings the whole new multi-sensory experience. And one last point on it, just to, again, to underscore, and I think Glenn touched on this, how many unread emails do you have in your inbox, right?
Thousands.
I
Yep.
mean, hundreds, right? Thousands, maybe.
Yep.
You don't have that many of those physical pieces in your mailbox. You're going to go to the mailbox. You're going to get the mail. You're going to touch it. And when you touch it, it starts this whole experience. So let's leverage that. Look at the pieces you're already printing right now, MSPs. I guarantee you are either already qualified or so close that it's just one more little thing to do, and now you get access to the 5%. But more importantly, you get that value that you're going to get with the mail piece.
So let us know what questions you have about TSI, folks. Let us know there in the Q&A. AJ, I know that TSI is also included in the package that you described earlier. So what are you doing with TSI?
Yeah, so this is another piece in our playbook that you will get. It's going to have some spot UV on it to create that multi-sensory experience. So you'll feel it, like Carl mentioned. You'll hang on to it a little bit longer. And again, the piece is created for you to use with your customers and your agencies and brand owners to help tell the story about the promotion.
Awesome. How many of you are excited about TSI? Drop TSI in the chat if this is one that you think you're going to lean into here in 26. Drop TSI there. I want to know who's interested in TSI. Yeah, I can see that a good number of you are. All right, we're going to move on to the next one while you're doing that. This is continuous contact. And Carl, I happen to know this is one that many of our clients, printers and agencies that are doing direct mail, a lot of our clients use it. But yet there's still a lot of confusion around what it is, what qualifies, and why is USPS leaning into giving discounts for continuous contact. Tell us about what's going on here.
Yeah, so this is a really great promotion we started in 2025. And the whole idea here is that you're reaching the same customers multiple times. A lot of, research we've seen, and I'm sure you've seen as well, shows that it takes multiple touch points to ultimately, drive conversion, whether that's
Yep.
a purchase, a sign up, a donation. It usually takes a couple of different times before they build that trust and awareness we were mentioning a moment ago. And so in this promotion is a little bit more of a process-based promotion rather than the content. In terms of the content, the sky's kind of the limit. You can be promoting almost any type of offer here. This is exclusive to marketing mail, but beyond that, there's not really a lot of content requirements. It is structured a little bit different from some of the other promotions. You'll have an initial mailing up front. And so that initial mailing is kind of setting the bar. What's your campaign about? And then to get approval for that, you're going to be sending your follow-up mailings, what we call them. So, any number of offerings after that that are related back to that initial piece, those are going to earn you that discount. So content, sky's the limit. Really just kind of looking for, a way for you to demonstrate to us that this campaign is related. These pieces are related to one another. So we really see this as a good opportunity for marketers. A lot of you are probably already doing this, right? I imagine most of you mail more than one time to the same customers. So it's really about kind of building that awareness with this promotion. And so this one will run from April 1st to the end of December. So this is a really long promotion in 2026, about 9 months. So really excited for this promotion. We tried it this year, and we really hope that, a lot more people take advantage of it in 2026.
If you used it this year, folks, would you let us know there in the chat? How'd you use it? What'd you learn? How was it helpful to you? Whether you're a PSP, MSP, brand, just give us a little feedback there. I see Carrie saying huge plans for TSI, the one we just talked about. Please keep this in 2027. My clients love this. Keepsake Direct Mail has a killer engagement for nonprofit. Thank you, folks, for dropping that in. I want to know, how are you using continuous contact? And Glenn, specifically you, give us some real life examples of how you're doing this for your customers.
No, that's a great call out where some of these comments. I love the fact that most of the promotions are a 6-month cycle. This is a 9-month, and that's on purpose because we want to get those multiple touches in. A few of our clients looked at this and we got really strategic about it. We had one that does a big mailing in June where they touch every single one of their contacts, and then they do follow-up mailings in July, August, September. And the reason why I bring that up is we did the math. Did it make sense to do TSI in June?
Glenn, I'm sure it did make sense. Once you come back, Glenn, let us know. I think he's going to reconnect in just a second. We'll move on to you, AJ. I know that in the packet, you have an example of continuous contact as well. What are you going to do with this?
Yep, just another tool in the playbook that you will receive. This is just a 6x11 postcard. Again, talking about the promotion and the continuous contact and what that means, printed on some of our accent opaque to continue that education.
Cool. And again, folks, if you want to receive this, let us know there in the chat. We'll make sure that you get on the list. Carl, I'm going to move to you next and then come back to Glenn. I see Glenn here. We'll hit you back in a second, Glenn, on continuous
Yeah, no
contact.
worries.
Yeah. Carl, so we're going to move to the next promotion here, first class mail advertising. Walk us through how mailers can leverage this and what the purpose of this promotion is.
Sure. So in the past, we had a promotion called Personalized Color Trans Promo. And so this is kind of a spiritual successor to that promotion in a sense that it's kind of opened the door for more opportunities to participate. This promotion is all of first class mail. It's not limited to bills and statements like it was in the past. And so really all you have to do here is have some sort of marketing offer. Whether that's an upsell, a cross-sell opportunity, it's really utilizing that first class piece as a billboard for your other offers. So let's say you're kind of selling one type of insurance and you send out that bill first class. Maybe you put some sort of offer on there. This person, this segment has, an opportunity. Maybe it looks like they're going to be a homeowner soon, so maybe offer some sort of alternative insurance on that piece. So it's a great way to kind of get two uses out of one mail piece with your first class pieces. And so this is a really good promotion. If you're using first class, definitely encourage you to check this out. This promotion will run from September 1st to December 31st. So a little bit later in the year, but a great opportunity for you if you're a first class mailer.
So Glenn, I'm going to come back to you. You good now, Glenn? Back in
Yeah,
business?
absolutely.
All right, awesome. So why don't you finish telling us how you're using continuous contact, the one we just talked about, and then also touch on this promotion and any kind of practitioner insight that you have from your point of view.
Yeah, so real quick, practitioner from continuous contact. What we're helping our clients do is we build a database of each time we mail to them. Just pulling the covers back, every address has a unique 11-digit zip code. We're keeping track of those touch points for our customers. What I love about this is it's forcing our customers to think strategic, multiple touches. And there's a few of our clients that said, hey, we want to do this. In their minds, they thought they were hitting all of their customers every time. And when we did the math, it was the first time they realized, like, oh my gosh, we're only hitting our customers. Only 40% of our list is being hit over and over again. So that was a success story because now they're going back and rethinking their marketing strategy. What I love about this first class mail advertising promotion, in the past, it was really just limited, like Carl was saying, to just those trans promotional items. Now we're basically saying, listen, if you're willing to pay first class postage, why shouldn't you also have the ability, if it's a marketing message that you need to hit quick? So this opens the door, and I think it speaks to the post office listening to the mailing industry on what tools we need to help us be successful.
Yeah. Thank you, USPS. Thank you, Carl, and the USPS team here. One thing that I do want to mention to everyone here in the room is that they do care. They are listening. They are taking your feedback. Carl, I know that it's not always an easy job. And to all the USPS folks here, I know that sometimes it's difficult, but I do want to say thank you from the industry here for what you are doing to listen and to involve that feedback in your thought process. Now, AJ, I know that you're also including this in your kit, correct?
Yep, we'll have a sample in our playbook that you will receive. And it really is just to remind you the details of the promotion. And first class mail isn't just for those transactional pieces. So keep that in mind as you're thinking about, Q4 of next year as you start this promotion.
Awesome. All right, Carl, this is the big news for 2026. This is a 10% discount. I know that this is something that's new for a lot of the folks here in the room. So explain to us, what is the Catalog Insights and why are you doing this? Why is USPS doing this?
Sure. So this promotion, this one's pretty straightforward in terms of it is what the name says it is. So we're really looking to incentivize mailers to utilize catalogs more. That's really just the behavior we're looking for, giving you an opportunity if you're a catalog mailer to kind of potentially try new things. So, really good way, if you're already doing that catalog, right, to kind of take advantage of this promotion, especially given that 10% discount. And so what we do really ask here is that you're meeting that definition of catalog. You have a brief definition here. We're happy to, share more detailed definition a little bit later. So, as long as this piece is a catalog, right, and it's in an eligible product category, it's within that marketing mail class, it is a catalog, then you're going to be able to be eligible for this promotion, right? We're going to be looking for things like fulfillment information, pricing, images of the offers within that catalog to really make sure that it's hitting that definition.
Awesome. Chris, I'm going to tag you in here. I see a lot of questions. Would you drop those questions, folks, in the Q&A so that I can make sure that the experts here are able to answer those? Chris, I know that this is one that you're pretty fired up about. Talk to us about how you're looking at this promotion.
Well, first of all, when I heard about this at MTAC, when the Postal Service shared, kind of gave us a preview, hey, this is where we're going to go with it, nearly fell out of my chair. 10% discount.
He did, actually. I was sitting next to you. I had to hold you up, remember?
I mean, honest to goodness, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's not just the postage, right? It's also this wide, and Carl was correct, right? There's a pretty wide swath here, folks, for the Postal Service to get you to define a catalog. They made this pretty straightforward. But what gets me excited about it is the 9-month window of time that takes advantage of the holiday season. And I'm already seeing stuff now, right? I got my Walmart catalog that came into the toy catalog. There's no prices on these pages, just a QR code that mom and dad can scan on the bottom as, their child circles these different toys and things as they put together their list. That was pretty cool. Nice catalog, saddle stitch, made a lot of sense for a brick and mortar store like Walmart. But you know what? Amazon did it again. Amazon printed out a perfectly bound catalog that's got stickers in it. It's got QR codes all over the place. The paper's fantastic on this thing. It's just absolutely a 10 out of 10. 10% discount qualifying for this thing. Folks, 9 months, you could take advantage of these catalogs. And I know you're doing catalogs, and you know what? They do work. The OIG has done studies on this. They've talked about how the catalogs work. People clearly state in the mail diary study how catalogs are so important to them because they continue on with a life on that. But what an amazing discount! I can't wait to see more catalogs this season and as we go into next year. Got to build on that. Well done, Postal Service. Well done on that.
Thank you, Carl. I know that was all you, Carl. Thank you for that, Carl. Folks, if this is the first time that you've heard about this promotion, would you drop the word catalog there in the chat? I just want to kind of get a visual read here. Is this the first time you heard about this? Drop catalog. So Jerica says catalog. Don't be shy, folks. Matthew says catalog. Susan says catalog. Casey or Cassie, catalog. Okay, drop catalog in there if this is the first time you heard about it. AJ, they're going to hear about it again in your packet. So are you including a catalog in the mailing here?
We are, and to stay on trend with our sports theme, we will have a 20-page catalog with our starting lineup. So it's really going to talk through our brands, and it will meet all the criteria that Carl talked through. So it's a good example that you guys can use to again talk to your customers, help encourage those catalogs. I mean, I know I'm partial, but when I get those catalogs in the mail, printed on uncoated paper. I look through it. It feels different. It looks different. So I'm like Chris. I get excited when I get some of these catalogs.
Oh, and we have kids around the same age. AJ, I don't know if it's true for your kids, but my kids love getting those catalogs. I see them sitting on the couch, circling the bazillion different things that they want from us. Do your kids do the same thing?
It works.
Yep, it definitely works. So thank you for that, AJ. Next, we're going to talk about the add-ons. I'm keeping an eye on the clock here because I want to make sure I leave plenty of time for questions. The 2026 add-ons. Carl, I'm going to start with you here. Informed delivery. I think I saw that now informed delivery emails are getting a 64% open rate. It feels like it's a must-have. I mean, you should just do it. It's a no-brainer. But talk to us about informed delivery, what it is, and how do we use this add-on?
Sure. So informed delivery is a really cool product. From a consumer side, right, you get to see what's coming in your mail every day. In an email, there's going to be photos of your mail pieces. But from that business perspective, informed delivery is great because what it does is under those images in that email, you're going to have what we call like a ride along, right? And that can include a URL, like a personalized URL. So the value of informed delivery is that it's kind of 3 touch points in one, right? You have the physical mail piece that's going to find its way to you. You have the email that you're going to get every day. And then you have that personalized URL or just a regular URL within that email as well. So you can get to your site, have a mail piece, and then that email all in one. So 3 touch points we talked about earlier. Multiple touch points is key. So we do incentivize that informed delivery with a 1% add-on, so you can add that to any of those promotions that we discussed earlier. And if you're a eDoc submitter and you prepare that mail, you can get that 0.5% credit applied to a permit.
Beautiful. Wonderful. AJ, I'm going to go to you now, talk about the sustainability add-on, which you see down there at the bottom of the screen. I love this one because it allows us as mailers to do good and save money. So how does Silvamo play into the sustainability add-on here?
We were so excited to see this added for the 2025 promotions. So all of our paper made in North America meets one of those qualifications. Everything's at least SFI certified. So in the past, that has been approved. So you shouldn't have any issues getting that approved. And to make it even easier for you guys, we have created a one-pager that kind of walks you through the step-by-step instructions to get this through the BCG portal. And really the big challenge is it does ask for the mill's SFI certification document. So on this one pager, we have a QR code that will take you right there to make it super easy for you to get that documentation and submit for that sustainability add-on. So we're excited to see this continue in 2026.
AJ, I know that we have a one-pager that helps people do this. Carissa, I don't know if you're going to put that out into Zoom or drop a link, but Carissa will follow up here in a moment so that you can grab that if you want the one-pager there. Now, Carl, I think everyone understands how the add-on work, how they work, but let's just do it again real quick, how the base promotions and the add-ons work, just in case there's somebody who's still wondering how these two things work together.
Yeah, so that's really important is what we call enrollment or registration. So that's identifying to us with your CRIDs, what's participating. But then beyond registration, what you always have to do is claim the discount. And what we mean by that is when you're preparing your postage, you have to identify to us that you'd want to utilize the discount on it. So with each promotion across the board, you're going to have something called a CCR code or component characteristics record that you can implement into your mail.dat, mail.xml, or the software that you use. And that identifies to us that your mailing is claiming the discount. With the add-ons, there will be an additional CCR code that you have to utilize with that base promotion. And so that all happens kind of when you're preparing your postage. If you're using Postal Wizard, there'll be a drop-down, but however you utilize that, your software should have some availability to select that discount.
Yeah, and if those are things that you want to learn more about, we're going to announce this in a moment. We're going to have a workshop, more detailed, click by click, BCG step-by-step walkthrough to help you actually implement these through the BCG. Hang tight for a moment. We're going to talk more about that. Chris, I know that as you've been out there listening to these pain points all year, as in your role at BCC, that you've noticed that there is a hole here, a gap that we can fill, and that you're working to address this. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, BCC, we got nearly 6,000 customers. Most are mail service providers. They get, they've heard us talk about this. They get that the promotions are a big deal, and they are, right? But they come back with the 3 key questions I hear time and again. Chris, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to sell it. I don't know how to make money on this, okay? So what we did internally at BCC, we talked about, hey, how could we put together a tool that allows our customers to be able to start to tell the story of what the incremental value would be with these promotions. Now, this is a preview, folks. It's going to launch soon, okay, and it'll have a special name, and you'll hear more about it, but I wanted to give you a preview on where we're going with this, because this is based on your feedback. So we want to make it real simple. You fill out this online, this is a web-based tool, okay? You would fill in, when is the mailing going to occur? What's the name of the campaign? So something that's relevant to it. What class of mail are we mailing here? How many pieces? Okay, so these are kind of basic stuff. And then what's the cost per piece, right, to create that? And then you can start looking at, well, what's my incremental value? And this is sort of towards the middle and the bottom of the screen. Based on the date of the mailing, it will tell you these are the promotions that are available based on that date, that class that you can work with. You click on that. And then on the right, where you see those green numbers, that begins an interactive tool to give you an idea of what the incremental value will be with these pieces based on the incremental response rate and then the additional postage saved. So that as you, as a mail service provider, can start filling this out. And it goes back to what I was saying before. You talk to your customer. If you want a 3% response rate, this is the price. If you want a higher response rate with a bigger return on investment, this is the price. And so it gives you an opportunity to fill this in. Now, as you go forward with this tool, then it will begin to interact with the Postal Service, creating a payload, a digital payload that automatically and seamlessly helps you register for these promotions. So we're developing a tool to sell it and a tool that helps you do this all within your software. So you're working with your BCC software, it's filling this in, and then as you've submitted this information, we are already getting the informed delivery data feeds, that information coming back from the Postal Service. We're giving you a dashboard that you can keep an eye on for your customers. How have I been putting this in here? So now you can explain to your customer, look, this is the incremental value you've got. This is how much effectively free pieces that you've done. This is how much more you can do now with these promotions in your mailing. So it just brings it together in a tool. Again, stay tuned. This will be out very soon, where you'll be able to now have that conversation with your customer, grow your business, and get engaged on the purpose of the piece.
Yeah, I see Sean saying and Shannon saying, BCC customer, first time I'm seeing this. This is breaking news, folks. Chris is sharing this here only with this group. This is for you folks that are here with us today. And if you're excited about this, Chris is going to roll a poll. Don't leave yet, because we do have a couple of other announcements here. But are you interested in learning more about this new tool that Chris just showed here? I'm going to leave this up for a few seconds. This one should be faster and easier for you to click.
Yeah.
Jeffrey is saying, I want it. Michelle is saying, that's awesome. Can't wait to tell our mailing team. Susan is saying, yay, BCC. Awesome. Yep, love it. Leave it up here for a few seconds. Carissa, turn your attention to the screen, folks. Let's get out and vote. I want to know how many of you are interested in learning more about this. And don't leave yet. I know we're running up to the hour. I'm actually going to ask the panel here to stick around past the hour and answer as many questions as possible. Alexis is saying, what a great new tool, making it so convenient for new mailing promotion participants. Chris, did you pay these people to say this?
No, but you know what? I'm glad to hear the feedback, because this tool was developed absolutely based on what you're telling us. We did some focus studies with that, so we're going to continue to enhance this. But I'm pretty excited. It puts in our customers' hands exactly what they need to be able to sell and get engaged on these promotions.
Wonderful. All right, leave it up for 5 more seconds, Chris. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring that down. Thank you, folks. If you want to learn more, we will be following up with you there. And I want to share with you something here that, Chris, you mentioned that this new technology and everything that we've talked about today, the scent, the smells, the touch, the things that we can see and feel with mail, all of that is super exciting. One thing that's common amongst all of what we've talked about today is the substrate or the paper that this stuff is printed on. That's why Sylvamo is sponsoring this. But what I think is uncommon in what we're seeing is Sylvamo's intelligent paper program. And so, AJ, I want you to share a little bit more about that with the audience that's here, and specifically, what is intelligent paper?
Yeah, Dave. So look, at Sylvamo, we love paper. Of course, we're the world's paper company, but we also realize that you have to combine print and technology to keep paper relevant. And that is what we are doing with intelligent paper. So Sylvamo's intelligent paper initiatives integrate cutting-edge tracking technology directly into your mail piece using PQR codes, personalized URLs. This is all powered by the industry leader in this technology with MindFire. So no more spraying and praying. So when recipients engage with your mail piece, you know exactly who responded, when they responded, what actions they took. So you're able to really track that engagement. So this means a couple of things for you guys. Real-time visibility into your campaign performance. You can see exactly when folks are doing what. Individual level response tracking. So if they click on a link but don't fill out the form, you know that. So then maybe you send a postcard to remind them. You get the ability to optimize campaigns based on actual data. So you just have stronger justification to your marketing team on spending the money with direct mail. You can really calculate that ROI and put some dollars to it. So in a nutshell, Dave, when you use Silvamo paper for your direct mail, we're going to give you the MindFire technology to track the ROI with that piece.
For how much? How much is the MindFire technology?
It's same as that Playbook. It's free.
You heard that, folks. So you print your direct mail on the Silvamo paper, and through the Intelligent Paper Initiative, just like the mail you see here on the screen, you're going to get the opportunity to not only include the intelligent mail barcode tracking there that you see on the screen, the personalized URL that you see over there on the right, the personalized QR code, but all of this is going to come together in the dashboard that AJ just described. So this means, for a moment, folks, just imagine, close your eyes for a moment. You're sitting in front of your client and they're saying to you, hey, you know what, mail isn't really working and we're going to have to cut back on budget. Now you can be in the driver's seat, right? You can remove those blinders, because now imagine the next QBR, once you have the intelligent paper offering, this, what you see on the screen, is the kind of data that you're going to be able to use to, with the same mailer, show your customer, here's what's actually happening, right? Here's how many pieces we're sending. That's what you're seeing over here. All of that through mail tracking being tracked. Here's the informed delivery add-on that we talked about today. Here's how that is improving response. Here are the responses that are coming in. How many people are engaging through the voice agent that I showed you earlier? How many are typing in their Pearl? How many are scanning their QR code? And then what everybody needs to know is over here on the right, the ROI, right? For every $1 of direct mail spend, this customer is generating $369 for this particular list here. That's the data that you need. All right. Now, AJ, I know the campaign that you've been showing us today, you've touched on that throughout the session. How are we incorporating this kind of real-time visibility into that campaign?
Yeah, so the playbook will include intelligent paper. So when we mail this to you, it will have personalized QR codes and pearls on there. When you scan that, it will take you to your own personal dashboard with this piece, and you will be able to see in real time the engagement with the playbook. So it can kind of teach you how this dashboard works, what data you can get from it. It will give you a little bit of a peek behind the curtains on the technology that you should be talking about with your customers to, again, track that ROI of any direct mail campaign.
So what do you think about intelligent paper, folks? Let us know your thoughts there in the chat. Are you getting this?
Hello, is this John?
Oh, it's talking again to me. It's also going to include
yay. Hi, John.
the AI assistant. If you would like to include this in your intelligent paper offering,
so
and you're interested in taking the next step, we're going to roll a poll here. It includes that agent. If you want to include that in here, if you're interested in learning more about intelligent paper, take a moment, look at the screen, and we want to know from you which of these catches your eye the most. Is it the data attribution, the dashboard that AJ talked about? Is it the conversational AI? You just heard her talking to me there again. AJ, you didn't talk about the 3.5 cents or $35 per thousand. Can you cover that?
Yes. So the cost of the technology is usually about that, and that's what Silvamo will be paying to help you guys put some of this personalization on your direct mail campaigns.
Yep. So what normally would be a fee for MindFire, as an example, is being subsidized by Silvamo, 3.5 cents per piece. So take a moment there. There are a few of you who say you're not interested in intelligent paper. I want to know what's wrong with you. Just kidding. Kinda. Let us know why. Be interested in knowing more. Take a few seconds there. What's standing out to you? Data attribution dashboard, the conversational AI, or the 3.5 cent subsidy per piece there? I'm going to leave it up for 5 more seconds. Chris, if you can pull it down. 3, 2, 1. Thank you, folks. We'll follow up with those of you who are interested there. And then I know, AJ, that in addition to that commitment that you just made, you're also doing something here, which you told me about yesterday. What are you doing here?
So going forward, we're going to talk about a couple of our upcoming webinars. Silvamo will be planting 5 trees for every person who registers for the webinars. And actually, as a bonus, I was told yesterday, I think yesterday I looked, we had about 456 people register. We're going to be able to do that for those registrations too. And then throughout next year, as we have these conversations, we'll be able to track the progress and see how many trees we are planting as part of the Pressing Issues webinar series. So super excited about that.
That's cool. And speaking of the webinars, AJ, talk to us about the next 2 that are upcoming. And then folks, as she's doing this, start to get your questions ready. We're going to hang around. I know we're 4 minutes past the hour officially, but stick around if you can. and drop your questions in the chat. AJ, what are the next 2 events that are upcoming?
Yeah, so we've got an event coming December 11th talking about extended producer responsibility. If you haven't heard of that or don't know what that is, please join us. But it's really putting the responsibility of recycling onto the brand owner. So we want to make sure you know the regulations. It's a little challenging because each state has different rules. So we'll talk about that to help make you more aware of what's going on. We will have Kevin from Ernst & Young and our very own Laura Pickert, who is the Director of Government Relations at Silvamo. So it'll be a very good informative discussion. And then after that, we're going to do a workshop, which will be a deep dive into these promotions. We'll walk you through in the BCG portal how to actually go in and execute each promotion. So it will be a little bit more technical than this webinar, but will help you understand the process to get everything approved to take advantage.
And speaking of new resources for you all,
Right.
Chris, you've got 2 that you want to talk about, and then we're going to get to real-time Q&A. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, just briefly. So putting now on my National Postal Forum hat for this, I'm really excited about Delivered. This is now going to be an education platform that the United States Post, or that the National Postal Forum, excuse me, is going to be pushing forward. Okay, so many of you know NPF is the premier event each year, the forum, but we wanted to take that all year long. Of the 5,700 people that visit us in Nashville, almost half of the people were first-time attendees. They want education, so we're going to be looking at doing this. I'm thrilled that Glenn Swires is going to be on the promotion one on December 9th, so he's going to help kind of kick this off. This is a learning. We're going to be going through this, but I'm excited about it, and can't wait to see this continue to be launched for the Delivered, which is the education for the National Postal Forum. And speaking of NPF, we are going to Phoenix. In fact, I was just there this week. It's going to be great, people. If you miss Nashville, you don't want to miss Phoenix. Please be there. If you went to Phoenix the last time we were there, I can tell you right now, it's going to be completely different, right? It's going to have bigger workshops, bigger opportunities for you. You don't want to miss out on this. You can register, and there's discounts for registering early as well. So check that out at npf.org.
Yeah, NPF, folks, really is all things mail, all things USPS. And so if you're not there, you're really missing out on an opportunity to hear from practitioners like Chris and Glenn and providers like AJ and Silvamo and from the brands and what they need out of mail and the latest data. It's just an amazing place to be, to really soak this all in over the course of a few days. So don't miss the opportunity to be at NPF. And with that, I'm going to move to questions here. So, Carissa, I think we're gonna ping pong back and forth here, folks. If you have to leave, I appreciate those of you who have stuck around. If you have to leave, drop the word recording here in the chat, and we'll make sure to get the recording to you. If you want to get the recording, Glenn is saying 164 days until NPF. Is there something like NPF in Canada? I saw somebody ask. Chris, is there?
Not that I'm aware of in Canada, but you're certainly welcome to come down to the States and join us in Phoenix. That'd be great.
Yeah, come on down. I think that was Brett asking in Canada. David's asking for the recording. Yeah, I see a lot of folks asking for the recording. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick look at the questions here and see kind of what's standing out here. Wow, there's a lot of questions here. Folks, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask you, if you have a question that hasn't been answered yet in the Q&A. I see Kate's got some questions there. It looks like the USPS team's been responding to most. But if you've got a question that hasn't yet been answered, please drop that in the chat, and I'm going to address it to one of the experts. But Glenn, as we're doing that, what stands out to you, Glenn, about what you saw in the chat in terms of the questions that people have, the things that are exciting them? What's jumping out at you?
I think I was watching both the chat and the Q&A. There's a couple of easy ones. People are asking, like, how many times do I have to mail to somebody in order to qualify, for the continuous contact? And the reality is there's an initial mailing, so 1, and then a follow-up mailing 2. So the minimum is 2, right?
Yep.
So I think that's a fairly easy one. And I think overall, maybe this is me being a little self-serving, I'm most excited at seeing where this whole active AI voice interaction, let me talk to my mail piece, where that's going to go.
Yep. I know that the Imagine Group is working on that, and pleasure to work with you on that. So, folks, if you want to get involved, let Glenn know. There are others here in the room as well, like Mike Robinson at Summit Direct Mail. There are many here that are starting to lead the way in this initiative, and we'd love to be able to join you alongside this discovery here. Renee is saying, will the BCC tool be available for mail owners, Chris?
So we're still working on that with Kate Sanders, who's the product manager and the launch with it. It's primarily designed for mail service providers, but I can definitely see where there's value to a mail owner to be able to get an understanding with that. Certainly, if you're a mail owner working with your mail service provider, you're going to want to do that. But if you're a mail owner and you're what we call implant, you're processing your own mail with that would be part of it. And I know related to this too, Dave, is the tool going to be part of the BCC software? A little bit of both. What we're trying to do is the ROI calculator. We want to make that available to as many people as possible. So the idea is let's get that out there to as many people as possible. And then as you go deeper into the tool, that ends up being we're looking at a subscription that ties in with the BCC software because it needs to pull the data from within the software to do the payload up to the Postal Service through their API. Again, you'll get more information about this soon. We're just kind of working with our postal partners to finalize the API connectivity between the two technologies. But I'm thrilled about how this is going to help our customers sell the promotions and do the promotions, and everybody starts making money on the increased value of the mail piece.
Carl, do you think you can finish up the coding of that tonight? Get us where we need to be?
I'll see who I can talk to.
See if you can see if you can get it done. All right, I'm not sure who to throw this question at, so I'm going to ask the panel if you have a good response here. Mike is asking, are there stats available that help combat the move towards going green or paperless? Because promotions cannot have go green messaging. We find many clients opt to not participate because they believe their going paperless campaigns are more valuable.
So I'll quickly address some of that question. And, in general, they mentioned something we didn't touch on, but I do want to touch on also is mail diversion, right? We don't want to encourage that paperless statement or going paperless, of course, just because we're in this, industry. But, I think there's a lot of good things that we're doing on that sustainability side, right? We have that sustainability add-on now. There's a lot of great things that, industry and the Postal Service are doing to, be conscious of that carbon footprint, right? And, we feel there's still a lot of really good value, and I think all of you do too, since you're on this call, about utilizing print with the digital, right? And so there, the nature of itself, right? Paper is a recyclable product, but we can't have the paperless messaging on our pieces. But beyond that, there's a lot of great efforts going in place to be sustainable.
Carl, I think this is at you. Would Raise Spot UV and Raise Spot Foil qualify for the TSI discounts? How about soft touch, AQ, or laminate?
Yeah, so that refers to kind of what we'll talk about as those tactile elements. In general, we don't put a lot of specific types of treatments on there just because there's so many. To have a comprehensive list would be very difficult. But spot gloss in general, right, is the key that we always say is, because there's a lot we don't know about even, is make sure it's visible and distinguishable, right? If we get your piece and we see that you've added a treatment and it has an impact and we can tell, then you're going to be approved for that promotion.
Chris, Mario is asking, will the BCC tool be part of the BCC software?
Well, that's what I was trying to say, Dave. There's going to be components of it that are sort of external to the software, and then there's components that interact with the software because it needs to pull data from the mailing software to be able to register for the promotions, because you need to know things like the crids and mids and stids, oh my, and all that stuff together to get it in there properly. I saw you smiling, Glenn. I hope you like that one. But yeah, so you got to put all the package together with that. So there's a component of it that is part of the BCC software, and then there's another component that we want to make available to as many people as possible.
Carl, does the mail owner, Jennifer is asking, still have to register themselves for the integrated technology promo?
That is correct. So that promotion is very unique in that process, and that the mail owner does have to register for integrated technology.
Jerica is asking for the informed delivery add-on discount. Is it possible to qualify for both the informed delivery discount mailer add-on and the eDoc submitter add-on, or is it just one or the other?
Sure. So if you're someone who's doing, both of those things for your customer, right? Let's say you're a mail service provider, and you help your customer with that add-on. Really, ultimately, that discount goes to the mail owner. But let's say you are the mail owner and you prepare that eDoc, you can get the 1% add-on, and in addition to the 0.5% eDoc credit.
Hey, Dave,
yes.
let me just jump on something real quick here.
Yeah.
So and Carl can probably answer this a little bit better, but one of the nuances that happens with these is there's a difference between a promotion and an incentive. And some of those things, like those e-doctor submitters, is actually an incentive that gets pushed back. And that's the reason why you can layer on an incentive with a promotion. So, for example, you can still get your MGI incentive and the promotion, but you can only take one base promotion at a time.
MGI being what, in case people aren't familiar?
Well, we love our acronyms at the post office. So, mail growth incentive, sorry.
Yeah, mail growth incentive, folks. If you're not sure what that is, drop MGI in the chat and we'll define that for you. Let's see. Chris, Sean is saying you have to mark the constant contact .dat correctly for the first mailing and others after that. So how does BCC help with that?
Well, in the software, you've got the ability in the software to do that through the depending on the product that you're using for us, because we got several different products. But you can go in and you can specify by clicking the box, hey, this is going to be the first piece with that. And then in some of the other products, you're identifying a particular file in the mail.dat set of files to upload to the Postal Service. So the software has the ability to do that. Our customer support team can walk you through that. They're certified mail design professionals with the U.S. Postal Service, so they know all about not just the software, but how to register for these promotions and stuff. So contact your BCC support team. Happy to help you walk through that.
Carl, is there a recommendation or modification allowed to qualify for the AI promotion in 2026 using the envelope tint? In 2025, an AI-generated inside tint qualified, but does not qualify in 2026.
So in 2026 with the AI, we did add in that, ability to help format your piece. So I believe that would fall under that. So I think that would be eligible. Again, in terms of proving, to us that you're utilizing AI, you have to just demonstrate, one, what your prompt was, what tool you used, kind of provide that information to us, and the review will be based on what you did there. But it is open for design elements as well as formatting now.
Jeffrey, I see your question about why the eligibility restrictions. Jeffrey, which are you referring to? Just help us understand and we can get you a better answer. Glenn, Kelly is asking MGI. So tell us a little bit about what is MGI.
So the mail growth incentive is an amazing program, and it's really designed to help reward mailers that are growing their volume. So in the nutshell is this, there's a million piece minimum. So, if you mailed 100 pieces last year and 200 pieces this year, those types of mailings aren't going to qualify. But let's say you're the Acme Corporation, and last year you mailed 1 million pieces, and this year you mail 1.5 million pieces. That delta, that 500,000 piece growth, gets a 30%, basically not discount, but promotional incentive credit that you can use on future mailings.
And if I could add to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we did a webinar and a workshop on that. I don't know when that was, within the past year. So Kelly, we can get you the resource page to go watch that, and you should learn a lot from that.
Thank you, AJ. Folks, I see some questions that are unanswered or are open still in the Q&A. I'm just going to ask my team, BCC, USPS, and others, can you answer some of those? And folks, if you've got something that hasn't been answered and you're still in the room, drop that into the chat here so that we can get that answered for you. Chris,
and one thing we did last year, Dave, any unanswered questions, we kind of put those in a document, got them answered, and got them out to the attendees. So if we don't get to everything, we can certainly do that again this time.
And Tamara, what was it that you're asking to be shared with you? I want to make sure we get you the right thing. If you can let us know there in the chat. Carl, I'm going to bystep you and ask Chris this question instead, just to leave you there untouched. But he's I think you see Sean's question here, Chris.
Yeah.
Can you explain why the promotions get added to the rate increases?
Yeah, so this has actually been around for a long time. So this is not something new. So when the Postal Service does a discount or promotion like this, it creates additional pricing authority for the Postal Service to be able to take advantage of. Now, in the past, that's been a pretty de minimis amount on that. So we haven't really seen much of a change. Where it did make a big change in July of this year in particular is because back in 2024 and going into 25, there was a huge success in the mail growth incentive, as Glenn was talking about, because those mail owners that participated in it did put a lot more mail volume into the system, thereby creating these credits. That creates additional price authority for the Postal Service that they can choose to utilize or not. So it's not something new. It just has to be with that. Now that was a big bump that we saw in July. But as we look at what the forecasted price guidance from our friends at the Postal Service headquarters, particularly Sharon Owens, shout out to Sharon. I do like her very much because she's very clear with us. She's quite transparent. That as we look forward going with that, you'll see it much, much smaller with it because more and more of you are doing these mailings. So quite simply, for those of you that are participating in the promotions and the incentives, which is what we're trying to encourage you to do, you're not going to see these big swings. It's the ones that are not doing these promotions. That's where some of the challenges are. So we want to get as many people as doing this because that will smooth out over time. It's just that it was a really big bump because it was the first time offering that. And quite candidly, it was very successful. A lot of volume went into the Postal Service out of that incentive.
Carissa, if I could ask you to throw the visual here on screen. I see some questions around the Silvamo Resource Center, the resource site. And I think, AJ, you put the link in chat? Did you just do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So there on this resource site, you can see many of the past events that we've hosted on demand there. Congressman Kevin Yoder is there. We've got the mail growth incentive. Some really fantastic resources there brought to you by Silvamo. So if you need that link, look there in the chat. I've got a question for all of you who are still here with us. What is it that you heard today that was new or that gave you an aha moment in thinking about how these promotions apply to your work? Take a moment and let us know there in the chat what stood out to you, because that's always helpful to us as we're thinking about how to continually bring you more value. Chuck is saying, any access to the one pagers that you put together? And AJ, you're saying they're all on the resource page, correct? Yep. Okay. Jeffrey, you're saying BCC software stood out to you. Is that what it was? Chris, that'll make you happy.
Yeah, thanks.
What stood out to you today, folks? I really want to know what stood out to you. Jeffrey's saying, yep. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to hold our panel back here for just a moment. Tracy is saying same. BCC software stood out. Fantastic. That's good. I'm going to hang back here for a moment, folks. I've asked the experts to stay back for a little while. I know some of them have a hard stop, but if you've got additional questions that haven't been answered, I would love to hear what's on your mind. Another question I have for all of you is, what is the best day and time for you to do this kind of thing that we're doing today? You know, we'd like to be able to do this at a day and time that works for most of you. Is that a Monday? Probably not, right? Is it a Thursday? What day of the week and what general time is best for these sessions? This time works perfect, says Mike. Okay, let us know. Give us some feedback there, please. What day and what time work for you? And I know I'm crazy here. I'm going to ask something that's probably nutty and only just me, but would any of you ever consider evening as a time where you could really focus on this, or the weekend? I know, don't shoot me. I'm just asking. Would any of you be open to that later at night? No evening or weekend, says Susan. Nope. Okay, yep. I'm getting shot down pretty quickly there. No, you guys don't love mail as much as me or Chris. Chris, you would be there with me, wouldn't you?
I'd be out looking at the stars. I do amateur astronomy, Dave. By the way, the aurora was fantastic last week. If you didn't get a chance to see that, depending on where you are in the country, it was amazing.
Was it cool?
Oh, very cool. Very, very cool.
Oh, look, there's Brett. Brett is saying Monday or Friday when I'm in my home office, evening or Saturday. And we got one person that'll be with us on Saturday. All right.
Well, Dave, my dad always told me that when you're in management, you only have to work half days. Just pick any 12 hours you want.
That is so true. Jackie is saying after the morning school drop off. So what is that? That would be like 9 Eastern, right? Or 9 Pacific.
Depends on your time zone.
Yeah, I guess so. Yep.
Or even at the age of the kids.
Yeah,
right?
true.
You know, are we talking like,
Well, and just remember too, if you register, we will send out the recording, the link to the recording, the slides, and 5 trees, right? So as long as you get registered, you'll get all the details.
Brett is saying let's do it at 1 a.m. Eastern. Wow. Okay. Ruth, midweek and mid-morning or mid-afternoon is preferable. Okay, that's helpful feedback. Lorraine is saying, great webinar. Thank you for all the resources. Looking forward to receiving my kit. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Lorraine, Postal Center International, PCI. Thank you. All right, folks, if you got value out of today, I see your question, Sean, here. But give some love there in the chat for AJ, for Chris, for Carl. Certainly, thank you from USPS and everybody on the line here today from USPS, and certainly for Glenn as well. If you got value, let us know there in the chat. Carl, this is from Sean. Has the USPS looked at doing a promo for customizable market mail, CMM?
We have always thought about, what can we do more with personalization. So that's definitely something that's on our radar. I can't speak to anything specific for, we're already thinking about 2027. So I don't have anything specific for that yet, but that is something we've thought through a little bit.
AJ, do you have any questions for the group that's still here? We still got a lot of people here.
The only question that I saw that didn't get answered was if Chris was going to be line dancing in Phoenix.
Seriously?
That came through.
All right.
Probably not on the main stage, like we did on the Monday morning kickoff, mostly because I don't want to steal anything from our new Postmaster General, David Steiner. But you can be assured if there's a dance hall somewhere throughout MPF, you're going to find me on it.
Okay.
This is an interesting one from Brett. I think that the USPS is not broken like Canada Post. We know that we've got some issues up there. How is USPS managing it differently? Carl, I won't put that at you, but Glenn, what are your thoughts on that?
I think one of the biggest differences is the fact that the United States Post Office is engaging industry more. Between MTech, PCC, AIM, forums like this, I think the post office has an advantage there. And don't forget, our first Postmaster General was a businessman.
Yep.
And, so our culture, half of the world's mail happens inside our border. So I think that's one huge advantage that we have is I think that collaborative effort.
Matt is saying no more Chris dancing makes the rest of us look bad. That is definitely true. I've seen Chris dancing with some of my staff as well. I've got that on video. Kenny says, thanks for Modern Litho. Have a good Thanksgiving. Sean is asking, when will BCC users, Mail Manager, get info on the new tool? Chris, when are you going to do more announcement on that?
I don't want to name a date yet, but I can tell you we're very, very close.
Okay.
Very close on launching that. So please stay tuned. Sorry, I want to give you a quick preview, though, because I'm super excited about it.
Yep.
But it'll be soon.
Glenn, Ruth is responding to you. It's very true. I work with Canada Post as well, and their strategies are very different from USPS. Maybe we should start working with Canada Post as well. Let's bring the whole family together here. AJ, that's an idea for us there. Thank you, Ruth, for that. Patricia is saying thank you for another great webinar. Chris is saying go Ducks and happy Thanksgiving from Oregon Litho Print. Chris, thank you for being here. All right, I'm gonna leave it up for another few moments here. Did everyone get an opportunity to get AJ Silvamo mail kit? If you missed that opportunity when the poll was up on the screen, drop your address there in the chat. AJ, I think we probably had, 200 folks that asked? Maybe more?
That was a lot. So that's exciting.
And AJ's going to be putting the stamp on manually for each one of those herself. So just kidding.
Yeah, holidays, that's what I'm doing.
Exactly. There you go. Little personal note for everyone. Lorenzo is saying thank you for Mayan. What's that? Well, you're welcome for whatever that is. Okay, Jeffrey's asking for the kit there. Tracy is asking, wow, there's still more people wondering here if they can get on that list there. I'm going to leave it open then for a few more moments here, folks. If you want to get that mail kit from AJ. AJ, again, tell us what's going to be in there.
Basically just a sample for each promotion in a nutshell.
Melissa, are you the Melissa I saw last week? You're here, you're a neighbor, you're close. Yes, okay. How's your dad doing? Jeffrey, you're welcome. Scott threw his address in there. Tracy did. Brett, thank you for engaging. And those of you who have been here in the chat and engaging with us, we really appreciate it. Thank you for your time and for your engagement. AJ, I think we're close to wrapping up. Great. Looking forward to connect you too. Melissa, fantastic. I was with Melissa last week at a PCC event here in Orange County, California. A wonderful event that she and the team there put on. If you're not involved in your local PCC, Glenn, what's the best way to get involved with PCC?
You know what? You could start right at the PCC website or Postal Pro. They have a great tool where you can actually find which one's closest to you. And if not, I'm sure ChatGPT and Grok can find it.
They might make it up, but you can find it. They'll
Yeah.
send you somewhere. Yeah. Carl, I want to say thank you. And I know it's not easy to be in these webinars and to do all the prep that it takes to be ready for today, but thank you for participating and for leaning in. And for, as Glenn said, really exemplifying how USPS is listening and participating in these conversations.
Yeah, appreciate the opportunity. It's really good to share more about these programs. As I mentioned earlier, they're really a win-win for everybody. So appreciate having the opportunity to speak today.
Yeah, well done. I think you'll be invited back. Very well done today. Glenn, thank you as well for sharing, how you and your team are using these promotions for your clients. Any last words that you want to leave the group with today?
Just want to double down on what Chris had mentioned earlier. You're paying for these promotions whether or not you take them or not. So take the money.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Chris, you always have some wise words. What would you like to share with the room?
You have a window of opportunity, folks, a window of opportunity. We don't have a market dominant price change in January next year. The Board of Governors has decided not to do that. So you're not going to have that distraction. And instead of worrying about what the postage is going to be for January, focus on the purpose of the piece and the value that you're going to get with this. So stay tuned for the launch of the tool, the official launch of the tool from BCC, but start looking at these promotions now. Start engaging with your customers now. Start understanding how you can walk around your plant. Look at the pieces you're already doing right now. I guarantee you they qualify. You just need to do that. And I want to see every single mail piece participating in informed delivery. It's free, and it adds that digital impression that goes along with it. What a great way to raise the bar on the visibility and the value of the mail piece. So take advantage of this lull in the price change for next year.
Preach on, Chris. Thank you. Totally agree. And AJ, what about you?
Yeah, just thank you to the panel for joining us. Would love feedback on future topics. We want this to continue to be valuable and educational to our customers and our customers' customers. So find me on LinkedIn, send me your ideas. We will send a survey where you can put your ideas there after the event tomorrow. So yeah, just let us know your thoughts on next topics.
Yeah, I'll leave this open for a second here. I'm actually going to drop my contact info there in the chat. AJ, maybe you want to do the same. Chris, Glenn, up to you. Carl, if you want to. And if you got questions, if you have follow-up, if you want to learn more about anything we talked about today, Carl, thank you for answering that question there. I know all of these folks personally, starting to know Carl a little bit better, but Chris, consider him a friend. AJ, a friend. Glenn, up and coming friend. And these are folks that really do care. And so they're going to throw their contact information there. And if you've got a question, you have an idea, nothing's off the table, reach out to us and we'd be happy to continue the conversation. Does anyone have, to AJ's question there, does anyone have a topic or an issue that you feel very passionate about that you think would be widely applicable to the group? We're going to leave that open here for a moment. I'd love to see if anybody's got something like that. And then I will bring us to a close here shortly. Anybody have any ideas like that? Carl, you said if magazines meet product eligibility requirements, they can fall into some of the existing promotions. I think, Carl, that was in response to Brett's question, correct?
Yes. If a magazine, is, let's say a promotions has marketing mails eligible, and then that magazine falls under marketing mail, and then it hits all the other requirements just like everyone else does, then it could qualify for a promotion.
We sometimes call those magalogs, right, Carl, where it's like a little bit of a cross. Yeah. Cross between a magazine and a catalog.
Yep. Are you going to brand that, Chris?
No, it's been around for a while, but again, that's why I was nearly fell out of my chair, right? A wide swath of opportunity for people. And yes, I showed Walmart, I showed Amazon, right? Because I was kind of geeking out with the thought that a digital only, provider like Amazon would be leveraging direct mail on a national basis. But folks, again, very easy. Small businesses need to be taking advantage of this catalog. That's an easy way for a small business to get in the game and get a little discount and add some value.
Fantastic. Ari, I see the talking postcard is great. I want more info. Ari, absolutely. So, AJ, we're going to be following up with everybody, right? Everyone who's asked for something. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, folks. Well, I appreciate you all being here today. For those of you here in the U.S., wishing you a happy Thanksgiving. What is that? Next week already? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thursday. Yeah, week from today.
Holy cow. Yeah, happy
Already
Thanksgiving.
thawing my turkey out, man.
For those of you in Canada, I think you already had your Thanksgiving, so happy belated Thanksgiving to all of you. And Carl, again, thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for everything that USPS is doing and the work that you folks do daily to continue to make mail relevant and impactful here in the U.S. So I want to say thank you to you and to all the panel, and most importantly, to all of you who have been here with us today. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.